everyone. Hope you are all well. You've had a lovely day. It's Tuesday and it is time for the Creative Remedies Performing Arts online session. It's week 20. The sun has suddenly just decided to come out. One moment please. That's better. And yes, week 20. My name is Gemma, for those of you who I have not met in real life. Thank you for joining me. Everybody that usually comes to the class, hello. Hope you're all really well. Had a nice weekend. Great to see everybody here today. So this week is a writing week. So what you need is a paper, some paper and a pen or pencil, whatever you prefer to write with. So grab that, press pause, and then I'll see you back in a sec. Okay, not only is this writing week, it is newspaper article week. So I'm allowed to go, read all about it, read all about it. I've been looking forward to doing that. So it's newspaper article writing week. So for probably the first time, I've put an attachment with this video of a newspaper article that I thought we could look at together first. We don't need that immediately, but just however you're watching this video, maybe try and get access to that document. If you can't, don't worry, we'll read it together anyway, but it could be useful. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of writing tasks to warm up. They are going to be time tasks. I am going to time you, don't worry about that, you don't need a stopwatch. I'm going to do it on my phone here. You can have 1 minute to write down a mini story, a mini explanation. I'll give you the information in a second. These time tasks are literally to get you warmed up. You don't need to worry about spelling or it making sense or anything else like that. You just write as much as you can just to get you warmed up, get you used to writing and get that part of your mind sort of open a little bit more. So the first time task is, you have a flying machine. You go on a journey, what can you see? Okay, now I'm not talking an aeroplane or a helicopter here. This is a unique special flying machine that you can use all around where you live, or you can decide to go further afield. You might take it with you to a special place and see what you can see. You might go along the coast. You might use it to get somewhere so you don't have to sit in traffic. Okay, so 1 minute to write what you can see on your flying machine journey. We're not sharing this. You do not have to worry about any spelling. There's no right or wrong on this. You just go for it. Well, I should say there's no wrong here. All of it is right. 1 minute starting now. You're on your flying machine. Where will you go? And what will you see? With these time tasks, it's quite good to try and keep writing for the whole minute if possible. Every time you get a little bit stuck, just go back to, I'm on a flying machine, what can I see? Start back there and usually you can get a new idea. Don't worry if this is several ideas, several journeys. There's no wrong. You're halfway through already, doing really well. You've not got long left, so don't be panicking if you're running out of ideas. Not long to go. Just get your last ones down on the page. You might be the opposite. You might have tons of ideas. What can you see? Okay, your time is up. Well done. Put your pen down. You can relax for a second. Fantastic, well done. Just a warm-up activity. Next, you can have another minute and the same thing again. Try and write through the whole minute if you can. Don't worry about spelling, grammar, punctuation, making sense, any of that. You just go for it. So your second time task is, what does your time machine, no, it's not a time machine. What does your flying machine look like? Okay, all you've got to do is describe that flying machine. Now you've been on a journey, you will know whether it is something that you sit on like a flying carpet. You'll know whether it's something that you've made yourself with cogs and whirly bits. You'll know whether it's really high tech and advanced, with a flight deck and lots of buttons and screens. Talk about your flying machine, what it looks like. 1 minute starts now. Perhaps when you did your first one, you weren't really thinking about what it looks like. Now's the time. Start building a picture around you. What is it like? Is it an animal? Okay, you're almost halfway through already. Time goes super fast on these. Just write as much as you can. Think about what colour it is, what material it's made out of, how big it is, are there any screens, do you need to communicate with anybody, or is it just you? Okay, your time is almost up, so last ideas down on the page, and that's your time up. Well done, fantastic. Put your pen down, have a little relax, stretch your hands a little bit. It's always quite a lot writing there in those time tasks, so well done. We're ready. I'm going to do one more sort of warm up, but it's a little bit, probably a bit more detailed. So you won't be timed on this one. You're going to press pause on the video, spend as long as you like on it. But this is, so the first one, didn't have to worry about any of the spelling or sentence structure or anything like that. This time you're going to write a little bit more as though we would share it back with each other. You want it to make a little bit more sense. Think about what you want to say a little bit more. You're going to write a story. I'm going to give you the title of that story. It can be as short or as long as you like. This again is just to get us warmed up, but to be thinking about what sentences go well with each other, how a story develops, with a little bit more structure than we did in the first activity. So the title of your story, if you want to write this down, is The Incredible Day. Okay, and you're going to write that story, that's your task. I would say, yeah, press pause on your video and just come back whenever you have finished. Enjoy. Okay, fantastic. I would love to hear your incredible day stories, but this is not possible in the world of the online sessions. Or is it? It actually is. If you want to write a little bit about your story underneath on the comments, that would be amazing to see. Or if you want to send them in to Pete, we're still looking for things to share in a bit of a video sharing session that we would love to do, and we'd love to include some of the performing arts, writing and creations from the last 20 weeks in there. So details, you can email pregan@warrington.gov.uk, send him any of your work. I would absolutely love to see it and read it and to share it with you guys. If you don't want it shared, that's absolutely fine, but send it to me. I'd love to see it. Okay, right, so now we're going to look at this newspaper report that I've attached to this week's session. It's from Warrington Guardian, so it's local news. And hopefully you can see a copy. If you can't, I'm going to read it for you now. And we'll just run through it. So if you can see a copy, get yours up. We'll just read it all together. So the headline is Warrington Fire Station Challenge for Firefighters Charity. Then we've got a photograph of 2 firefighters and the sign about the charity and the fire station, just to show us what's going on. Crew members at Warrington Fire Station, it says. Then we've got a slightly more extended headline, still in bold. A team of firefighters will take on a grueling 12-hour physical challenge in aid of charity. And then we get into the article. 8 members of the crew based at Warrington Fire Station on Winnock Road are set to complete 999, I think that's 999, 13.5 metre ladder ascents and descents, the equivalent of climbing Everest or tackling Snowdon 4 times. Incredible. They will then walk the length of Lake Windermere with 999 casualty drags before taking on 999 hose runs, covering the same distance as 2 laps of New York City's Central Park. Finally, the firefighters will then haul an item of equipment aloft to 12 times the height of the Burj Khalifa. Apologies if that's pronounced wrong. All of this will be completed without leaving the fire station as part of the 999 Hellfire Challenge in aid of the firefighters charity. Everyone who makes a donation has the chance to win a prize, with the fundraiser set to take place on Thursday the 30th of July. Watch manager Joanna Collier said, "This is going to be a seriously difficult and tough challenge, but we have been training very hard because we are doing it for a fantastic cause. We have created a Just Giving page for the challenge and we are already over halfway to raising our target of at least £2,500 for the firefighters charity. I would encourage people to show their support by donating as much money as they can for the fantastic work that the firefighters charity does. The charity relies on donations and fundraising for the vital respite, recuperation and rehabilitation that it provides for sick and injured firefighters and their families. The coronavirus pandemic has caused a massive reduction in the level of funding the firefighters charity has received this year, and we are determined to do our bit to help make up some of the shortfall. Then there is a link for you to donate if you want to. That's the end of the article. It's short, it's sweet, it's local, and I thought that could help us when we're starting to think about what our newspaper article might look like. So your job today is going to be to write a newspaper article. It's going to be about something that's happened to you recently. Now, obviously that's quite a big thing that they're doing. We'll come to our events in a minute. Do not panic if you've not got any charity fundraisers up your sleeve. I certainly haven't, but I've written a little article. So the first thing I'd like us to do, we're going to pause the video. I'd like you to make a note of what are the key features in the way that that article is written. So what stands out about the way that it is written? Thinking about writing in general. So some writing that we do is made up, some is factual, some gives information, some paints a picture, describes things, is descriptive. I want you to think about what the key features in the way it is written. I'd like you then to think about what is the layout like, and who do we hear from, what voices. So what are the key features, what is the layout, and who do we hear from, who are the voices that we hear from. So 3 questions. Pause the video, have a little think of those, come back together, and then I'll talk about what I think, and I'm sure you'll have some other ideas as well which I can't hear, but we'll just sort of summarise those. So what are the key features in the way that that article is written? So we're thinking about how it is written. So we do lots of writing. We do script writing here, we do short stories, we do poetry, we do improvisations, I guess, in terms of creating characters and new worlds. What are the key ways that this newspaper article is written? What's the layout? Who do we hear from? What voices? Okay, make notes on all of those and then come back to me. Excellent. So, first question was, what are the key features in the way it is written? Now, I have written that it's informative and factual. Everything I think that we hear in that article is based on giving us information as the reader or giving us some facts, whether that's about what they plan to do, where that money goes, what that challenge is equivalent to. Really gives us lots of information and it's really full of facts. I also thought that it celebrates the firefighters and what they're doing and how hard they've worked. Particularly maybe the picture adds to that. In terms of the layout, I thought, so there's the big headline, there's the extended headlines, gives us a tiny bit more information, then we've got the information, the details, and then we've got an interview with somebody who tells us a little bit more. And who we hear from, the voices, I would say is the reporter, so the person writing that article. Now sometimes they have an agenda, and that means they have something they want to do through writing this article. Might be to try and persuade the audience to do something, might be to try and inform with information, it might be to try and change your mind about something. it's up to you what you think the reporter in this case is doing. I think probably it is a mixture of to inform and maybe to try and encourage you to donate. So we hear from the reporter, we hear from the manager of the firefighting station, but we also sort of hear from Just Giving, because there's a link there, so that could send us on to Just Giving, that will give us more information. So that was my thoughts. Okay, I'm sure you have your own as well. That's going to just hopefully help us when we write our own, and it is time for us to do that now. Starting with some headlines, I'd like you to think about everyday things that have happened to you today, maybe yesterday, recently. So we've got fresh memories of those things happening. Now obviously at the moment, things, I mean maybe in your lives it's exciting and you're doing lots of exciting things, I'm sure you are. I'm finding that my everyday is quite similar, not a lot is happening still. So the sort of things I've written my headlines about are: today I cut my first cucumber off my plant. Very excited about that. We got a new washing machine delivered, and I spent some time writing some letters to some friends. So I decided these would be my headlines. Now a headline's got to be eye-catching. It's got to be quite short and snappy. It's got to sort of summarise what's happening in the story but not give away too much. So my first headline is: first cucumber of the crop picked. My second one is: household in a spin as new washing machine arrives. And there's a bit of play on words there with in a spin. Lots of headlines do things like that, make them a bit fun. Also lots of headlines do what we call an alliteration, which is all starting with the same letter. That's what I've done in my final one. Post penned perfectly. Okay, so that was me writing my post. Post penned perfectly. All starting with a P. That's a classic thing that headlines do. So I want you to think of a few everyday things that have happened to you or things that you've done. It could be literally just dropping your nephew off at the nursery, or it could be doing the shopping, or it could be doing a spring clean, anything at all, okay? And you're going to put that into a headline. I'd say maybe try and get 3, get more if you can, but aim for 3, okay? So head off, think of your everyday things and write them as headlines. You might want to use alliteration, you might want to use some play on words like in a spin with the washing machine. You might just want to tell us, like the firefighters one, a short version of what happens. Okay, off you go. Excellent. Okay, so now your job will be to take one of those headlines and write the article. If you struggled with finding that headline and you want to just make something up, absolutely go for your life. I don't mind that at all. But if you have got something that you could dramatise, make more dramatic than it actually is, it could be quite fun. I really enjoyed writing my article about the cucumber. I will read it to you in a moment. So I think there is lots to gain from choosing something that actually happened to you. So you're going to need to write your headline, your extended headline, and your article. My advice would be to interview at least one person in your article. You can choose to make it really dramatic. You can choose to make it sympathetic. Again, you are the reporter, and whatever you want the audience, the reader, to think or feel, you need to put that into your writing. So if you want them to sympathise with you because you dropped your last cake on the floor, or your toast on the floor and it went butter side up and you couldn't eat it and you made a mess, really bring that into your writing. If you want it to be dramatic, you need to use dramatic language, cliffhangers, and exciting sort of writing. And at the end you might want to conclude it. So you've got a main headline, an extended headline, the story, the information, maybe an interview, and maybe a conclusion. Okay, I'm going to read you my article and then I'm going to let you crack on with yours. So, first cucumber of the crop picked. That's the main headline. Extended headline: the first mini cucumber from budding gardener Gemma has been picked and is ready for the tasting. So here's the article. First time cucumber grower Gemma received her mini cucumber plant from her dad several months ago. Since then, she has carefully monitored, pruned and encouraged the plant to flourish. After weeks of patient observation, generous watering, and twice weekly feeding. The first has been plucked and is ready to be eaten. Proud gardener Gemma said, "We have several more coming, but this one has been ahead from the beginning, and I always knew it would be the first to be picked." She added, "I'm hoping for a tasty vegetable that has a special homegrown feel. There are many more where that came from, so I hope we like it." Gemma has a yard that doesn't get a great deal of sun, so the growth has taken her by surprise. She said, "I will definitely grow more of my own produce again. It has been very rewarding." So there you go, that's my article about picking my cucumber. Short and sweet. Yours can be short and sweet, it can be more dramatic than that. It can be anything you like, you can make it a bit longer. Just enjoy. I had a lot of fun writing mine, so pick one of your headlines or make up a new one and write your newspaper article. Okay, fantastic. Well done. I would love to hear these stories. Again, if you want to send them in to Pete, that'd be amazing to see them. Or if you want to just write a comment underneath and say, "Oh, I wrote my article about, I don't know, taking my dog for a walk and him getting off the lead, but I've got him again," or whatever. Okay, final activity then will be, if you're a bit artistic, you might want to draw out your newspaper article and lay it out. So you might want to get a fresh piece of paper, write your headline nice and big, write your extended headline, and then you might want to draw a picture of the incident, write down your article and sort of frame it and structure it as you might do. Again, you could use the Warrington Guardian one for inspiration. And that's the final activity, and I'll say just enjoy. If you're going to do that, do a little drawing. I would draw my cucumber plant, I think, and maybe me like happily ready to cut it off, and enjoy and have a great week, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye.